shooting down in the woods. He wouldn't leave here even if he could. His life is good, yeah!
Hickok45, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the beautiful hills of Middle Tennessee. Yes, Tennessee, the home of Dolly Parton, Alvin York, many others. And boy, is it really beautiful this time of year. I know it gets pretty barren around, well, most of the country, I guess, in the winter time, in the depths of winter, especially Tennessee, Kentucky, and on northward. Leaves are off, barren trees, cold, gray, but right now it is everything but that. This is almost prime time, I guess. It's very close. It's just gorgeous. John and I went on a Harley ride yesterday. It was 84 degrees it got up to here at the end of October. And we actually did a couple of videos when we got back. Well, we had a great day. Man, I mean, starting out in the morning, I set up for the videos and kind of got everything ready, and then met John, and we rode out to Dixon, Tennessee, and around, had lunch. Just a beautiful ride. Of course, we went the secondary roads. We didn't go the interstate, needless to say. And just rode out there and back. A little wind blowing, the leaves, gorgeous, fall leaves. And whether you live in an area where you have gorgeous trees or not, you know what I'm talking about. You've seen pictures, right? Just something special about this time of year. Not as many bugs, really, and not as much humidity, even when it is warm. And just the woods are so gorgeous. Oh, man. I wish there was some way I could wave a magic wand and make this last for 3 months instead of just a matter of a few weeks. But anyway, I digress. Wait a minute, I digress? That's what a radio show's about, digressing on anything I want to, right? So anyway, what am I going to talk? A few things I might yak at you about. Out here at the reloading room again, I thought, well, I don't have a really good excuse not to do a radio show. I think it's been, 3 weeks or more. And thought I'd yak at you. Who knows about what? Well, one thing it occurred to me earlier today. I wanted to remind, I was online, and, well, I'm always online, it seems like. I'm not doing something else. But I think most of you know this, duh. If you've been around a while, I know you know it, that we are trying to keep things, I hate to use that overused phrase, family friendly, but really that's what it is. We want everybody to be able to watch the videos and learn from them and get hooked, on our channel, of course. No, but get hooked on the shooting sports and, get into it. And well, I can't get you hooked if you're thinking about getting a firearm. What will get you hooked is buying the firearm and then taking it to the range and shooting it a time or two. Then you'll probably be hooked. I would say the hook rate there is very, very high. What would you say? About 90% at least? As I've always said, the only people who don't like guns and shooting are people who have not done it. And that's an exaggeration. There are people who will actually do it that will not like it probably. But there's very few, I think. If it's done right, they don't go to the range their first trip. Somebody hands them a .44 Magnum with full house loads in it. Yeah, they won't like shooting probably. Give them a .22. But anyway, yeah, I mean, that's kind of our mission here, the primary mission. And I just want to remind people, if you see people making posts that are help them out, I'm sure some people, as I've mentioned before in a radio show, I know they get knocked off the channel maybe before they really get a chance. I don't know anybody's usernames. Who knows who they are? But they just they use like really obscene language, and of course some of the words are filtered out anyway. Or they say something they're accustomed to going around and saying remarks that are really bigoted. They're racial slurs or something, whether it's on a watermelon video, whatever the heck it is. we have a really low tolerance for any of that. I mean, a part of it is, again, to keep the videos as clean as we can, but also I just have a real pet peeve with any kind of bigotry, any kind of that stupid stuff. It's crazy. And I don't care if in certain circles it's accepted or it's more acceptable. This is our circle. Sorry, I mean, people can say whatever they want in their own living rooms, but the Hickok45 channel is John and mine's living room. So we do exert some control over that. We want it to be something 10-year-olds can watch the videos and read the comments. And most of them probably don't read comments. Thankfully, right? Although there's a lot to be learned in the comments, some of it actually good, right? But then again, we all know the internet's the internet, and there's everybody sitting in a basement somewhere has an internet connection. They can say anything they want to get attention, or express their dissatisfaction, or their envy, or whatever it might be. But don't get blocked. That's my message. And of course, if you're listening to this, that it's not really pertaining to you, probably, unless you're maybe a new person, and maybe it is news to you to some extent, a very small percentage of you listening, maybe, I don't know. But you can help other folks, maybe, if you see them commenting or wondering why they got blocked on the Hickok45 channel or whatever it was. Well, we're quick on the trigger, any kind of bigotry, stuff like that, grandstanding that's just obnoxious, whatever. So we don't want to lose anybody that's a potential addict out there that has the potential to get addicted to firearms and support the Second Amendment and be one of us out here at the shooting ranges and around, okay? Because some people just don't think before they post. They're accustomed maybe to hanging out on channels where you can say absolutely anything you want to, and you get a big laugh out of it, or maybe that's the claim to heroism on some other channels or something like that. I don't know. I don't get around as much as I'd like to, but it's not the claim to heroism on the Hickok45 channel, and that's why I think we have a more civilized channel. At least that's what people tell me. Not that I'm civilized, but we try to keep it somewhat civilized, and as I've said many times, the drama, away and all that stupid stuff. We could do a drama channel. I know there's some of those out there. We could look for things to bash people about, or even other YouTubers, or just anything, guns all the time, be bashing certain guns and the way certain guns look, and even though they're great guns, or the way people run their YouTube, or whatever it might be, we could do that, and probably get a really loyal but small following. Because let's face it, there are people out there that love that kind of stuff, the drama, and there's people that are always going to appeal to the lowest common denominator, on the internet or in society. So there's always going to be a market for that kind of thing. But we're trying to do something a little bit bigger, okay? Not to sound arrogant about it, but we really are. We're trying to do something not big in terms of a big channel. We're trying to do something more important, I guess what I should say. And of course, the bigger the channel is, maybe the more effect we can have. But we're trying to do something for the Second Amendment, for freedom. It's really an interesting endeavor, as you all know. A lot of you are involved in the very same thing. That through the Second Amendment, the work we can do for that, the firearms freedoms, I think we actually impact other freedoms, because a lot of these issues overlap. They really do. Respecting other people's desire to do what they want to do, shoot what they want to shoot, own a gun if they want to own a gun. As long as they're not affecting me, they're not. So maybe I'm anti-gun, but I don't like guns, let's say. I'm afraid of firearms, but I've got some neighbors I know that really love them. Well, to me, in a mature world, or people who are really mature and confident about themselves and in themselves, and they've got a little bit of self-esteem, you would think that they might be mature enough to think, well, I don't really like firearms. I'm not so sure we should have all these firearms, but I don't know. Those guys, they don't seem to be hurting anybody. They seem to enjoy their firearms. I guess, live and let live. You would hope that we get more of that kind of attitude, and not just about firearms. As I say, it's a freedom issue as far as I can see it, and that's pretty far. It is a freedom issue, and again, as I've said before, where do all these busybodies come from? Here I am on my soapbox right off the bat here. Sorry about that. I'll calm down. But I don't know where the busybodies in this world come from. Whether it's a busybody soccer mom, or it could be even a busybody gun owner, who's trying to control certain types of firearms, or doesn't think that people should be able to own certain genres of firearms because they're dangerous looking, but yet their guns are just fine, again, because it's a break open shotgun or something. But anyway, there are too many busybodies in the world worried about what other people do. Should not be worrying about other people unless it's affecting them, me, you, whatever. All right, I guess I'll climb down. Let me get the ladder out and climb down off the soapbox. All right. So, what else has been going on? I did want to mention that early on for reasons, I guess, probably most people go to sleep, after about 5 minutes for the radio show, right? So they might miss that. But we really do want to welcome everybody. And I would hate that. I mean, I wish I never had to block anybody. I never blocked anybody. But, you can imagine. You see comments out there as you prowl around the internet. It's crazy. It really is. It's, people will just post the most obnoxious, obscene things occasionally. And it's weird how the internet has changed, I think, our thinking about things, too, when you get right down to it. 20 years ago, 30, whatever, 20, 15, some of the things, if someone had written some of that down on a piece of paper and stuck it on a wall somewhere, or even put it on the internet somewhere back then, before we were used to that, we'd just been appalled. People would just somebody would have wanted to shut down the internet. Probably people would like to do that today. But, the fact, I don't know if you thought of it this way, but the mere fact, the very fact that there are those trolls out there and there's people seeking attention that leave really crazy stuff and obnoxious stuff. In a way, it what would be the word? It neutralizes it to some extent, doesn't it? It neutralizes it. Like you're looking at a favorite video of yours, some channel somewhere, and you're reading some of the comments, and there's something that would just embarrass a sailor written there. You just sort of overlook it. Okay, you go on. You almost don't react anymore because that's just some idiot trying to get attention. You don't even think about it hardly. You just go on to the next comment. You might try to spam it out or something for the kids, but you don't. It just doesn't. It hardly registers because that's what we've come to expect when you have millions of people, millions of anonymous people with internet connections, and of course all the various strange traits that people can have, and mental issues or whatever, depression issues, or they have no friends, they have no life, or their primary goal is to just stir up trouble or something. We just have gotten so used to that we tend to ignore it, don't we? It's kind of a weird oxymoron, I guess, or contradiction. Well, anyway, let's talk about something more positive. I know something positive for you Revolver fans. How's this? Listen. Could you tell what that is? What's wrong with you? Wow. Well, it's a big revolver. Not too big, but it's big. You might have seen a posting. Didn't I post a picture on Facebook? I think I did. Yeah, this is the Smith & Wesson Model 69. It is a .44 Magnum 5-shot L frame. You might have seen one somewhere. You might have picked it up and thought, hey, I'd like to have that. But then you looked at the price and said, well, maybe not today because it's not cheap. But it is pretty cool. We did a video with it, and we'll post that here before too long. I like it, actually, but you know, gosh, I like everything. I like revolvers. It doesn't matter what they are, it seems. I'm not sure, like I say, I like it. I'm not sure what I would do with it. What I will do with it, it's a gift from Bud's, but so it's ours. I don't know. I can't. I'm not sure what I think 100%. Now I've done the video as usual. I just told you what I thought about it. Always going to give you the positives and negatives wherever a gun comes from, and wherever it goes back, or if it goes back, or whatever the deal is, of course. But I'm not sure. I like it, but I think if I were in the mountains hiking and I wanted to carry a 44 Magnum, this might be my choice. If there's bears out there, because it's the nice things, the things I think I pointed out are the fact that it's a little smaller, it's a little thinner, because it's a 5-shot, so it's not as thick and it's not as heavy. But yet it's not one of those scandium frame 44 Magnums that weighs about as much as 3 potato chips, and when you fire it, it sends your shooting arm to the sky. It's not one of those, but it is lighter, and it does it kicks a little bit with the hot stuff. I'll admit to that. But who cares? If you're being approached by an angry bear, right? Doesn't matter if it hurts a little bit, because it's pretty shootable, and I like it. As a firearm, it's nice. Of course, anybody that likes 44 and likes double action Smiths is going to like it on some level, okay, even with its negatives. But that's pretty cool. I've had a lot of fun with revolvers lately, and we've not posted some of this activity. Well, you have seen the GP100, the match grade gun. What was it called? Match competition model or match model, whatever it was. That was a borrowed gun from a friend, and that is nice. Got another GP100 I have picked up. I've replaced my 3-inch GP100. Found a used one, and I'll tell you about it in the video. I'm not going to ruin how I got that, but it's a used one, which of course all of them are after you shoot them a couple of times, right? And as I pointed out in I guess it was the MP40 video that was a police trade-in, and have talked about before. There's a huge market for used guns, of course, and if you're like me, you're always looking for that. I scour a gun broker every now and then if there's a gun I'd sort of like to have, and just to look around, because even more so than with a car, I like to find a used car too if I can, that's just maybe a year old or something, 6 months, and let someone else take the big hit on that first year or first 2,000 miles of depreciation. The nice thing about a firearm is that it takes a lot of shooting, a great deal of shooting generally, to even start wearing one, at all. Unlike with a car, if it's got 30, 40, 50,000 miles on it, it's probably still okay. But you could have some issues there. You never know. Warranties expiring maybe, and just different things. But with a firearm, they're hard to wear out, and so it's something I've always looked for. Anyway, this GP100 doesn't have all that many rounds through it, and I'm not sure you could wear one of those things out for sure, because they are little tanks. 357 Magnum, for those of you who are not familiar with the GP100. It's one of the classic revolvers, modern classics, I guess, in 357. It's a sweet gun. What else? That's something else. Well, let's see. You've still not seen the 454 Ruger. Gosh, sounds like I'm becoming a Ruger guy. I have acquired a couple of Rugers. I think I talked about that already. How a soldier at Fort Campbell lent it to us, and I ended up trading him out of it. So it's here at the stable too. Also, so I'm a sucker for a good revolver. A cool revolver. They're just a lot of fun to shoot. And even this 3-inch GP100 I recently acquired. I missed it. If you notice in the videos, you longtime viewers, I did one 4 years ago, a video on a GP100 3-inch model. That was my friend's gun because I had just recently traded or sold mine and kind of regretted it, you know. So every time I see one, I think, yeah, I'd like to have that 3-inch GP100 back. That was a neat gun, and so now I do. And we did a video already with that baby just yesterday, actually. Yeah. Yeah, man, what else we've been doing with guns? Yeah, we've got some video. We really do want to, we could just take a couple weeks off, of course, if we wanted to in terms of videos, but we're not going to do that because I know some bad weather is coming, not far away. And I'd like to do several videos while it's so gorgeous here in Tennessee, with the leaves all brightly colored and everything, so that in the middle of winter, when things are so drab and dreary, we can post a video with all the beautiful leaves and everything. So, and I know you're getting accustomed to that. You know, you get you never know what the weather is going to be when we post a video, right? It could have been something we did yesterday, or it could be something we did, you know, months ago, or it could be something we did in the future, right? Because we're so talented. But I'm reminded, going to post that video with the A3 for too long, and actually got it out and shot it again, and got the sights on, got them zeroed in. I will prove that to you in a chapter 2. The sights are on. Try not to do that, you know, have badly aligned sights, you know, for the video. It may not be perfect, but I hate it when they're way off. And boy, they were off in that first video. I don't know how I hit anything, really. I hope I'm not one to make excuses unless I'm just joking around. But I really did have an excuse in that video because the sights are great on an A3. You're familiar with that. There's not a lot of reason to be missing much at moderate distances, you know, really, unless you just can't see the sights or something. So that has been pretty much cured and fixed, and I love that gun. Man, do I. If you like bolt guns, you got to get an A3 sometime. Either the A3 or the original. They're both dream guns when it comes to bolt guns, as far as I'm concerned. I noticed a comment recently. I think it was on the Glock top model. One of those Glock videos we did a few years back. We had all the Glocks out, a bunch of magazines, and all that. It may have been the one called Glocks, I forgot. But ask if those were all my magazines, or if those were all Glock magazines. You get different comments to that effect occasionally on those videos. And again, yeah, they're all Glock magazines. I don't buy aftermarket Glock magazines. But whatever sorts of magazines or guns are on the table, sometimes you do see quite a few magazines, and you don't see all of the magazines I actually own. Although I did lose them all in the lake last weekend. Again, I highly recommend that you procure magazines for your guns, extra magazines. Be about that. If it's a firearm you're pretty sure you're going to keep for a long time, especially, and it takes magazines that hold 15, 12, 30 rounds or whatever, 40. Get you some extra ones. Pack them away. Don't even take some of them out of the wrapper. Maybe just get them. It's almost in support of the Second Amendment. Well, it is in support of the Second Amendment. Now, I'm not selling magazines. Everybody thinks I'm selling stuff. I do have opinions, things I like, things I don't like, but I still think that the teeth of the Second Amendment, of course, it's getting stronger all the time. And it's the strongest when the politicians realize and are reminded that we have a lot of guns out here. We have a lot of untrackable guns out here. And how many tens of millions of big magazines do we have out here in the country that are untrackable? The more the better. Again, we want, and I'm not really trying to get overly political, we want our government officials who are trying to take the teeth out of the Second Amendment. We want them, when they're sitting around commiserating about all these guns, or wanting to propose gun control. One of them in the group, in the party, or wherever, brings up an idea about submitting some new bill restricting firearms, or actually restricting people, what it comes down to, right? And, like, for example, some naive politician might think, well, yeah, we need to get all these high-capacity magazines taken up. We need to outlaw those, and we would have a safer world. Yeah. Well, if it's just common knowledge, how many of those are out here? How many mag pulls does the average person have who owns an AR-15? Oh, man. Or just magazines for your handguns, your pistols. Just have a good stash. And, it's just the cat's out of the bag on that, as most people know. You cannot do anything about that. And then the politicians really can't do anything about that, whether they want to or not. The cat's out of the bag. It's too far gone. Okay, they need to know that. If nothing else gets through to them, that piece of intelligence, of information alone, I think, can have a bearing on whether they propose some stupid bill. Look what's happening in New York, Connecticut. All these things that are supposed to have been registered or turned in or whatever. The non-compliance level is extreme up there. And, we applaud you folks for that. There's so much of it out there. Okay, and that's a good thing. When you're hanging around a gun shop, got some extra cash, and they got whatever kinds of magazines that you're going to have a gun for that. You're going to have an M&P. You're going to have a Glock. You're going to have an AR-15. And pick you up one or two, and they don't go bad. They really don't. Not for a few 100 years, at least. So anyway, just something to think about. And one reason I bring that up is I think part of the problem is some of these people who are kind of on the fence, or they're actually anti-gun, but they haven't really studied it. They don't really have a lot of information. I don't think a lot of them realize that we shooters have all this stuff. They really don't. Like, they live in this little bubble, in this little world where they think, well, we can pass a law and outlaw those Glock magazines that hold 17 rounds. We can just go, take those up. And they may have this vision that there's a couple of people in your neighborhood that has 4 or 5 of them, and in the neighborhood next to you, there's maybe 4 or 5 of those magazines, and we could eventually get those taken up. They don't have a clue that you might have a neighbor that's got 150 of them. And you may have another neighbor that's got 50. And in your town, even if it's a small town, there may be 40,000 what they call high-capacity magazines, and probably more than that. So, again, that alone, can drive or push back, some of the proposals, just knowing that it would be futile. There's no way you're going to get those things. So just make up some other dream bill, some other fantasy bill. Write up some other fantasy proposal, because you're not going to get those magazines. You're not even going to get the guns. You're not even going to get them registered. So, again, that's maybe on a really practical level. Maybe we can appeal to some of those people, at least if they realize that. It's like, if I someone said, well, the 40 acres you got there, Hickok, you could just cut all those trees down one afternoon, couldn't you? How many trees you have? Well, no, it would take years. They just need to know how monumental the task would be. So maybe that helps. I don't know. One of the ways I think this is revealed, this ignorance is revealed, especially in the media, news media, is whenever you see a report. How many times have you seen a report, some news report where, I don't know, somebody was busted, somebody is arrested, and, maybe for some legitimate crime, and this person happens to have some firearms. And I mean, going back 20, 30 years, this has been something that's always bothered me, as you can imagine. But you watching the evening news and local news, and there'll be somebody in your area that, I don't know, there was some domestic case, or they're arrested for I don't know, drug possession, or what else might it be? I don't know. Embezzled money at their bank. I don't know what. But invariably, there'll be cameras and news team at their house, and they'll have often, and they'll have these guns laid out on a sheet, and boxes of ammo or something, and oh man, the big hook on that news story, and at his house was found 14 assorted firearms and almost 2,000 rounds of ammunition, or 1,300 rounds of ammunition. And, oh, really? And to, again, the soccer mom, and I hate to pick on soccer moms, that's the term we use. Well, I guess what do we mean by soccer mom? Not to be disparaging about soccer or moms, but I think we're talking about people who just have grown up in their little bubble, and they don't really think about firearms. They're not really outdoors people at all, and and then a lot of them are the little busybodies and all that sort of thing. That's a subject for another day, I guess. What is a soccer mom? But we're not picking on moms or soccer players. We're talking about people that are trying to change the world to fit their ideal of it, right? But anyway, a lot of those folks are that are terrified of firearms anyway, where they don't. Why would you need more than one firearm? Even if you're a hunter, why would you have 14 guns? And oh my gosh, 1,000 rounds of ammunition. So that's always bothered me, because I really, I don't know if I can remember a time when I had 1,000 rounds of ammunition, because I don't think I would have slept well knowing that that's all I had, 1,000 rounds. I mean, I've got that much on my person normally. Just kidding. But really, what's 1,000 rounds of ammo? That's nothing. That's nothing for anybody that shoots much. Okay, now I know there are exceptions to that, but if you shoot old ARs or AKs, or you go to the range a lot, and I'm not telling you all, most of you, anything you don't already know, but it's such a fact of life, isn't it, that if you're an avid shooter and you have several firearms, well, first of all, let's back up. And I'm not really telling you anything you don't know, but this is something that I wish we could get to the news media, whether they like it or not, if they would just be aware of it. I've even thought of, over the years, it'd be nice if somehow, without revealing your identity and coming off as a nut, yourself as an individual, if somehow maybe all the shooters in the city or whatever would, maybe we have a rally, or something. Maybe we wear a mask. I don't know. But like everybody in Nashville, for example, who has more than 10,000 rounds of ammunition and more than 25 firearms, shows up on Legislative Plaza one Saturday, and we carry signs. And we're just there. We're not, even going to be speechifying or causing trouble, of course, or anything. We just want to see, hundreds of people, maybe thousands, who have 25 firearms and over 10,000 rounds of ammo. Now, if we could get everybody to show up, we seem to have a hard time getting people to show up for Second Amendment rallies more than one would think. That's for sure. But if everybody, say in Middle Tennessee even, that would qualify there with those numbers showed up, there would be thousands of us. Thousands, as I said us, right? There would be thousands and thousands probably standing there, and people from all walks of life, just normal folks that happen to have an interest in firearms, and that would probably be really shocking, I would think, to the media. Now they like to pretend they're shocked, and they don't, many of them, not all of them, but many of them see no use for all these firearms, of course, and all this ammunition. But I really do think that the reality of it is that many of them don't realize that that's really normal. That's really normal. Now, they're going to make it sound more abnormal in the news report, as abnormal as they can. I mean, they want a hook. They want a story. And they know that so many people watching the news who are not shooters, they would be slightly appalled too. So that's a dramatic piece of intelligence they're relaying to their viewers on the 6 o'clock news that, man, you had somebody in your neighborhood who had 14 guns, regardless of whatever else he was involved in. He wasn't even involved maybe in some crime of violence. Maybe I don't know, he had a pound of marijuana in his car or something, and which warrants a search of the house, of course, and then they drag everything out that he has and make a big deal out of the firearms and ammunition. And of course that renders it illegal if you had drugs, right? It compounds the whole problem for the the poor schmo, that's for sure. He should have known that ahead of time. But anyway, it's so crazy. But it would be cool if there was some way, without revealing everybody's identity, because a lot of people don't. That's one reason they don't show up at the Second Amendment rallies. They're some kind of I don't know, deeper paranoia than even the average gun owner has. They either they're just lazy, they don't show up. But as is often the case, somebody else is pushing the wheelbarrow while they ride in it. Same with the gun rights organizations, as we've talked about. But that has just always been a pet peeve of mine. It's just because they could be talking about me. Obviously. And they love that story. Of course, I don't plan to ever be involved in anything illegal and be arrested and have my guns out on the front lawn, But, yeah, wow. Yeah, put mine on the front lawn on a sheet and the ammo, and, they'll really think I'm some sort of terrorist. And many of you. I don't know. Maybe we just need some... Maybe we all have it has crossed my mind on things like that. If we got a petition up, sort of a petition type thing, and everybody signed it and just put their initials on it or something. I don't know how you could do it where they couldn't look you up, if that's what folks are afraid of. And, sign this petition if you've got 10,000 rounds of ammo, or you got 5,000 rounds of ammo, or you got more than 10 guns, and just so we would have a visual representation of the thousands and thousands of people in an average sized city that would qualify, and that everybody would be appalled. Well, why would you be appalled? Look at that. There are thousands of people that own that many guns and that much ammo. And anyway, I don't know. The thing that people who are non-shooters don't really get is that if you shoot, and you shoot every week, or maybe more than every week, like me, then you go through a lot of ammunition. And anything you use a lot of, if you're a golfer and you go through a lot of golf balls, let's say in golf, I think I've used this analogy before, let's say in golf that you could only hit the ball one time and it was rendered unusable. Of course, if I played golf, it'd just be lost, so it would be unusable, unfindable probably. But and so, if you're playing, what's a normal person hit, like an 80 or 90 or 100 or something in 18 holes of golf? Then or 150, whatever it is. Well, you might go out on a Saturday and use 150 golf balls, and maybe you play twice a week, or 3 times a week some weeks. So you may be going through 300, 400, 500 golf balls a week. Nobody would think anything about that. If you got a big buy on golf balls, you'd be buying them in volume, wouldn't you? You'd really be buying them in bulk, and you'd be looking for deals, and you'd be ordering them on the internet. 1,000 golf balls, for whatever, $59.95 or $259, I don't know. So you'd end up, maybe if you were a serious golfer, a golf nut, and we know there are a lot of those out there. So you'd have a basement with maybe 3,000 or 4,000 golf balls. You got a really good buy. If you bought 5,000, you got this price break, and you're never going to be giving up golf, so they don't waste. They'll keep forever. So you got 5, maybe 10,000 golf balls. Well, shooting takes more than that, because it's gone. You got to shoot hundreds and hundreds of rounds in an afternoon without even thinking, right? So the word 1,000 sounds like a lot, but it's nothing. It's really nothing when for an avid shooter. So Anyway, that's another little rant that bothers me. I don't know why I got off on that. There's nothing you can do about it. Well, maybe there is. We all can do about it. It falls back, I guess, into that category, or that same thing I've talked about before, how we, as shooters and civilized folks, for those of us who are a little or slightly civilized, we need to not be afraid to tell people about our hobby and bring up stuff like that, and kind of educate non-shooters, preferably people who are not antagonistic, but I think it just helps if it helps a lot if those people who are kind of on the fence, or they don't even know anything about firearms, but they meet people. They need to meet regular people, is what I'm getting at, don't they? They need to meet regular people, the guy they work with, the gal they work with, the gal they go to church with, or that they drop off their kids at daycare with, or whatever. Just people they meet at the soccer matches among the soccer moms. And just casually mention things about that. Yeah, I was at the range last weekend, and we had a great time. Oh, and I got a buy on some ammo, the kind that my husband and I shoot a lot of, 38 Special. We were able to find 500 rounds and got a really good deal on it. Whenever that kind of thing can be brought up, it's all good, I think, just to help educate people what the shooting sports are all about, and that it's not there are a lot of people, they see a report like that where someone, whatever he's busted for, again, I don't know what, I'm not excusing his other crimes, but he has 14 guns and he has 1,400 rounds of ammo or something. There are too many people that look upon that as if that person is wow. Well, in addition to whatever else that dude's up to, he must be a terrorist. He must be planning some takeover of the government or something, So I wish we could get away from that. Okay, let me climb down off my soapbox again here. I have another firearm out here. I'd almost forgotten about it. I still had it in the gun rug, and was making sure it was clean. We shot it the other day, some more. It is, guess what? Yeah, it's another 44 Magnum. My baby, the Model 29, 8 3/8, 29-2. You saw it in the birthday video, and got to make sure it's clean and taken good care of, because this is its 40th birthday. And October is almost over. This is a special month for it. Of course, it will still be 40 years old, even in September, right? But that is pretty neat, having a little birthday cake for it. And as I think I answered a couple of people, we were actually going to shoot the candle out, was the idea. I'd put a candle and shoot it out. Maybe that'd be kind of cool. We'll do that. But then the more I thought about it, I want to eat a piece of the cake. I need to take a bite of it to make it official. Blow out the candle, take a bite of the cake. And even as crude as I am, I didn't want to shoot the candle out and then eat a bite of the cake. That was kind of the problem there. Because, especially with a revolver, how am I going to shoot the candle out without getting powder and that dreaded lead residue in the cake? You're like all over it, and it's blowing it away probably. So we decided to do it the way we did it, and so I could get a bite of that cake. I wanted a bite of that cake. So anyway, nice to have this old baby for 40 years, and as I've said before, a lot of people don't even live 40 years, and it's nice to have such a memento from a hobby that is still going strong and always will, that is such a cool gun, and have had it so long and have shot it so much and will continue to fire it. So that's neat. I hope you have that opportunity someday. If you've got a firearm right now and you're 25, 23, 20, whatever, that you really like, think about that. Because I know we're always so quick to trade them off so we can get something else. But if you know you're going to really like this gun when you're 40 and 30 and 60, try to hang on to one of them. Because it's pretty neat to have one that lasted through all the trades, that didn't get pulled out of the safe and traded. And that's hard to do, because you shoot a gun a lot and you think, oh, okay, I've had my fun with that. And you got we always have our eye on that next firearm, don't we? And maybe the only way to get it is to trade And it's just so tempting, and you're a little tired, like anything, through use, you get a little used to it and tired of it temporarily, and you make that mistake of trading it off. Try to avoid that would be my recommendation on at least one of your firearms. And so you can have that thing 40 years later. Pretty neat. Continue shooting it. Hand it down to your kiddos, okay? Or just send it to me. Doesn't matter. I never get enough firearms. One of the cool things about surviving this long is to have opportunities like that. Have things around that you've had a lot of enjoyment out of for a lot of years. I was reminded of that at a car show this past weekend. I was at a car show in Somerset, Kentucky, and I don't know if you're familiar with that. Some of you probably are, because it is a huge car show that the small town of Somerset, Kentucky started, 15, 20 years ago. I don't know, and it has become a destination, apparently. What's it called? Summer Cruise, I think. And the fourth Saturday or the last Saturday of every month, I mean, a lot of folks descend upon Somerset in their old cars, their classic cars, and it's a car show. The whole downtown becomes the show place. I guess they kind of clear out all the other cars down there. If anybody's parked down there, whatever. And they all come in on Friday night or Saturday morning, and they have a little get together Friday night down at one of the malls, and that's a bigger car show right there than most towns have. And then the next day, they have the show downtown. And I think they said there were 1,300 there this year registered. So that's a pretty big car show. And it's interesting. I'm not a real car guy per se. I appreciate them, and I enjoy seeing those old cars. My dad had a couple old cars, Model A's. He restored. I helped him, and I can appreciate those things. And it's neat. That's another thing about being a little bit older. These car shows are probably more interesting to me than, or at least interesting in a different way than someone 25. If you're 25, you might walk through there and you look at those old 55, 57 Chevys, 56 Chevys, and all those various vehicles, and think, man, that is really neat, the way they used to make them and all that. When I walk through there, I think the same thing, but I also think about my brother's 55 Chevy that he had and that I drove, which was only like 5 years old. The car was, and the 56 Chevy his brother or his best friend had that I used to ride around with them in a lot, and the 60 Chevy that we owned, and convertible. And by the way, I don't remember seeing a 60 Chevy there out of all of those cars. And they're neat. They're neat, except I have history with them. I used to ride around. I had a 55 Pontiac. Now I bought it in about 66, I guess, but it was like new. And that's a car you don't see much at these car shows. The old Pontiacs, a 55, 56 Pontiac. I did see a beautiful 56 Pontiac, which is about the same, so that was neat. But it occurred to me, I'm walking around there, that those people are kind of like us in the gun hobby. It's just a different interest. They fix those things up. They thoroughly enjoy them and ride them around and show them off, and they put a lot of money into them. And it's just their hobby. It's just one of those things. We guys especially, we're bad about that, aren't we? But pretty neat. I thoroughly beautiful day, beautiful weekend, and an entire town full of those. You think about it, 1,300 is a lot. They had so many parking lots filled with them, the streets downtown, the town square. And they do that every month. They really do. They have a theme. I think most months, well, they don't do it every month. I think they take off. This was the last one of the year. And then they don't do it until April again. But then it's every month through the spring, summer, and fall. And they have a theme, I think, every month, more or less. And I guess these people are all probably connected, if you're a member or you check the website or whatever, some months they'll be calling in all the this month was, I think, 55, and I don't know, it was a Chevy month or what, 55, 56, 57 Chevys. They're trying to get all those folks there, and boy, there were a bunch of them. It was cool. And in other months, they specialize in other things. I don't know. But, I mean, I guess it's whoever wants to show up, though, for that matter. And that was neat. I really, really enjoyed that. I've been to 2 or 3 of them over the last decade, I guess, and I kind of wanted to go back to one, and that was a great one to attend. And the cool thing is, on Saturday night after it's over, or late in the afternoon, people, I mean, this is like redneck small town America, I guess you could say, but people line the highway out, Highway 27 in Somerset, both sides of the highway for, I don't know, a couple, 3 miles up through there. And before most of them go home, some I guess left early, but most of them are out there running up and down the highway. It's a 4-lane highway, and it's a busy highway, a lot of lights, but they run up and down, they stop the light, and they'll rev the engines, maybe even squeal the tires, and the local police kind of let them get by with a little extra, because that's a big event in Somerset. So I'm sure they have some parameters there, but that a lot of them would have been stopped on a normal day and ticketed, but they let them rev their engines and have a little fun there. And they go, and probably even speed some. But that's pretty cool. So everybody gets their lawn chairs out. We did the same thing. It's the first time I'd been to that part of it. And we camped out there with some chairs along the road, and strategically picked a spot where there was a Domino's Pizza right there behind us. Had our pizza, watching the cars go by. So pretty neat event. It's one of those things that you may have never seen. Some states, and I think in some cities, it's a bigger deal than others. But it's hard for anybody not to like those old cars. There's just something about that. It's something everybody can relate to, right? It's not like firearms. Everybody knows cars to some extent. Everybody rides in cars, so everybody has some interest, and may have a relative that has an old car and fixes them up, that sort of thing. But that was pretty cool. Thought I'd share that. Put you to sleep. Oh, I forgot to mention, while I was up there for a couple days, I had a Facebook message about, you might have seen it, about the Glock match up in Lexington, Kentucky. And someone asked if I was going to be there, and I thought, that's this weekend, huh? And I don't go to those really anymore, but I had shot up there in that match several times, and just hadn't in 12 years. And you know what? While everybody was sleeping on Saturday morning, and that show didn't start till the afternoon, I thought, you know what? I was just about an hour away. I'm going to ride up there. And I did. I rode up to the Glock match. I didn't stay all that long, but proud ride. It was kind of neat seeing all the polymer wonder there, everybody packing a Glock, and the competition getting underway, and it was pretty neat. Ran into some of you all, some of the viewers there. It was good to see you, and I didn't shoot or anything. I didn't even plan to shoot. Didn't even have, well, as you might imagine, I probably had a Glock, but I wasn't planning to shoot in it. It was just an afterthought to drop in there and just see how that range had changed. It's at the Bluegrass Sportsman League, something like that, there in Wilmore, Kentucky. And it's a beautiful range, almost 1,500 acres, an amazing place. And they've been having it there for, I guess, over 15 years probably close to 20 years. Been having the GSSF match, the Glock Sports Shooting Foundation matches there. And they're pretty neat. You see a lot of families come out. You got a weird mix at those matches, and I guess it hasn't changed. You got a lot of people just new into firearms, and then you have people that shoot a lot at them. And you got some serious competitors at them, and so you got a variety of sorts of people that go to those, and they're kind of neat. Well, I guess I've yacked at y'all enough about enough different random things and topics. But again, we appreciate y'all tuning in, and the support that we get from almost everybody. our focus is really on you guys. It's funny, even though it's social media, I guess it is very, 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 very social in a lot of ways, but I didn't really get started with like YouTube to be sociable necessarily. It's just a weird thing when you think of it as social media. And our in terms of the videos, our focus has really always been just on who's going to be viewing the videos or who might get something from them, and that's just been it. It really has. And and I am more clueless than I ought to be, as I admit and confess to quite often, what's going on around a lot of YouTube. It's because we're so busy with just what we're doing that we are trying to put out there for viewers. That's our focus, is shooting videos. It just happens to be on YouTube right now, and probably will stay on YouTube. Who knows? But that's just seems like the most logical venue for it right now. As I have said before, we've had other opportunities and offers to do some different things, but we were going to lose control in so many ways, in terms of content to some extent, just the commercial side of it to a large extent, and all that. So, that's why it's funny. People think we're being a little commercial, by taking some sponsorship. Hey, on YouTube, we can control that. We can control how we do it or not do it, So, but, we're right now planning to stay where we are and keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully continue to get some interesting firearms in, and post some semi-interesting videos. Although we're not trying to rake in as many firearms as we can to do videos with. I in a way, I miss doing more videos. In some ways, I miss the old days. I say old days, and we still do that. We still do close-ups occasionally, but we used to get a firearm in, and we would do a woods walk with it, a close-up, and do 2 or 3 videos with it. And we still do that sometimes if it's a firearm we think warrants that, but we don't have time really to do. We have to post a video every day or twice a day, if we're going to do a close-up with every single thing. So, but like I say, in some ways I miss some of that, but it's good having access to so many different firearms, and it just kind of depends. It really does. We may post 5 close-ups the next month. I don't know. It's a lot of it's based on a whim and what we think would be fun to do or cool to do, what you'd like to see. And again, it's not based entirely upon what we think you'd like to see. Some of it is just firearms I want to shoot, and I'm sort of confident that you'd like to see it, and I don't think I'm wrong too often. The things that I really like, I think a lot of shooters like. I'm not really unique. Might be weird, but I don't think I'm all that unique. As John and I have said, we just do videos we would like to watch, and that kind of thing, and that kind of answers a lot of our own questions. We don't have to think about it too much. Never really have. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? We don't think much, especially me. But we just we know what we would like to see, and that's just sort of an instinct, So that's kind of what we started out doing, what we think might be valuable on some level and of interest to people, and so that's just kind of what we do. We're gun nuts. We've confessed to that. There's no doubt about it. I am, and of course, John had no hope, right? Being raised right here on the compound, no hope for that guy, and so we just keep doing what we do, and we're in total control of it, what is cool, and we're not really obligated to anybody. Maybe just in really small ways to do the plugs occasionally, but we don't even need that. But it really helps a lot, and we control basically everything, and it's nice to be in total control of what we do, and that's not going to change. Videos will be the same in terms of what we want them to be, So anyway, we really appreciate you all watching, and we appreciate you helping to spread the addiction of shooting out there. Okay, we really do. That's whatever else we do, the thing we take the most pride in is the, I don't know, whatever impact it is. If it's monumental, if it's just somewhat significant, or if it's even small, but whatever impact we have on, the Second Amendment and getting more people interested in the shooting sports, and maybe opening some eyes that shooting is for normal folks. You don't have to be a combat veteran. You don't have to be a trainer. Shooting is fun. Most of the people that you see at the range are normal folks. It's like you and me, right? We're normal. I promise I'm normal. Semi-normal sometimes. But anyway, I'm rambling too much again. But that's okay. That's what's neat about this. It helps me get not all my rambling out of my system, right? Because you see some of that in videos. But look on the bright side. The more rambling I can do here in the reloading room on my recorder, maybe that will just save the viewers, you all, in the videos. It'll save you from having to put up with a little extra rambling. Maybe I'll get to the point a little bit quicker in the videos. And I try to do that in the videos. I don't ramble too much in the videos. I mean, we try to stay relaxed because I enjoy doing them. But I don't go down all these different paths, as you know. So anyway, we do appreciate you all watching and your support. And we can't please everybody, but hopefully enough of you get something out of it. You'll keep watching, and we'll keep posting shooting videos. How's that? Life is good. You've been listening to the Hickok45 radio show. See you on the range.